Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so every weekday since March 18th, 2020. Today is Monday, June 17th, 2024. It's a privilege to come together every single day for over, almost 4.5 years to find each other and to say good morning. Today, thank you, Penny, is broadcast 1073. It's also day 255 since October 7th. We are not the same, but our community comes together consistently, constantly. You can count on us. It's one of the biggest gifts to be able to say good morning to sweet people. And I'm going to start with my beautiful Ariel, who is about to board her flight back to New York for a little bit before she then turns around and guides a trip to Poland and to Israel for young Jewish leaders. What a privilege, my love, it is to be your Abba. Bensi, Arlene, good to see you. Let's see who's here on Facebook. Ashley, Lisa, and Patricia, good morning. Peter and Sharon, Debbie and Barbara, Carl, good morning. Hi, Amy. Nathalia, Boker Tov. Shush and Anya, Ron and Carl, good morning, friends. It's good to see all of you. Susan and Shari, Cecile and Catherine, Boker Tov, sending love to Australia. All right, so we have friends from all over, but today is a very special broadcast. Today is not only a day for us to say good morning in this way. I get to say that my special guest today, who's going to occupy this chair in just a second, is Lieutenant Commander, Rabbi, Chaplain in the U.S. Navy, and my best friend for our whole lives, my sister, Rabbi Yonina Creditor. Please join me. Everybody, give a warm Morning Torah broadcast welcome, a 9 o'clocker hug to Rabbi Yonina Creditor. Here, I'm going to do this.
Go this way?
There you go. See? It's a reverse direction thing. Oh, you can't see here. Now you can. All right, you're just going to focus here, but you're also there in case you didn't know. So this is Facebook. This is Instagram. Everybody, Rabbi Yonina Creditor.
Boker Tov.
She has no idea what's coming. The kind of love that we generate is going to be so new. Is this like the experience at the Navy?
No.
No, the Naval Academy where Rabbi Creditor to my left, looks like you're right here, generates in her work is so holy and a different flavor than what we generate. So thank you, friends, for sharing this kind of communal love with one of the best teachers in the world. All right, who's also going to sing? I didn't tell her she was going to do that. You ready? You know this one?
I maybe.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Let's take a breath, sing a bracha. Oh, and we are going to celebrate Gewalt Shari Umansky Hopper. Her screenplay about the Holocaust just won Best Screenplay at Cannes.
Wow.
Gewalt. I also just received a copy of the book version of your screenplay in my office. I am so excited for you. Mazel tov. Today's Torah is in honor of you. All right, everybody, here we go. Hi, Susie. Nice to see you. Carl, thanks for calling it perfect harmony. I sang in my key, which is definitely not my sister's key. Thank you for being a good sport.
I'm very flexible in that way. I was only regretting the fact that I realized if you had learned the guitar earlier, we could have been doing this when we were younger.
But we can do it now.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We are... Ron says we are the best-looking brother and sister rabbis that he knows. Thank you. And how many do you know? We're beginning a new parsha, friends, and there's a lot of context to set, but I don't want to take our time to do that in an extended way. Let me simply say that Parshat Behaalotecha, where we are, is an extraordinary parsha because it finds us in the middle of our journey, but it gives us new tools, and that's one of the things. Oh, see, Neshama agrees with Ron. Thank you, love. So glad you agree. We need new tools. Yesterday, I had the real pleasure, of returning to our childhood neighborhood, really, on Long Island, where the Sid Jacobson JCC was running Israel Fest, the biggest Israel celebration on Long Island every year. And it was an extraordinary gathering. Most important was that Omer Nutra's parents were there calling for his release, mobilizing our community. Elected officials were there joining in the call. And yes, the Maccabees sang, and yes, my beautiful daughter Raya and I sang together, but so powerful for us to know that these new tools do arise once in a while. We're saying hi to Adele in Richmond. Hi, friend. And what we need right now is to bring all those collective tools so that we can light these lights. Let me say one word about the Parsha and then ask you to share some Torah, the Torah of your lived experience. Behaalotecha begins with the command to Aaron that he and his children should light the lights of the menorah. Menorah different than Chanukiah. Chanukiah being the way that we celebrate Hanukkah with 8 lights and 1 shamash. The menorah, 7 lights and 1 center one as the shamash, though it's not called that there. And 1 light lights 7. Why am I pointing to this? Because as I understand, and this is what I'd love to hear your thoughts on, the role of a chaplain, the role really of a human being, but I think a chaplain, as I see it, is the recovery, cultivation, and healing of the humanity of people who give themselves in significant service, God forbid, the ultimate kind of service. And you're there as a light bringer. What does humanity offer us from the inside out, and how do we create community in the harsh circumstances that we're going to subject ourselves to? And I'm wondering what your experience working with other people, not as the only source of light, but as a source of light for them. What does that mean for you? How do you do that?
I thought you were going to start with a softball question, but I love you to know that you weren't going to do that to me. You were going to be all gentle like that. It's a really powerful thing, I think, when there is a level of understanding and trust between myself and a service member when they come in. That I am there, like, not just a makom kadosh, like this holy space, but it is a sacred space because they know that they can say whatever they want, right? By law, they can confess anything at all. They can say there is literally 100% confidentiality, and so in that space they can unburden themselves, and there are no consequences, right? Maybe they get in trouble with the military if they've done something or whatever, but in that space, that's the first chance for them to be able to do some amount of, like, it's like a baby Yom Kippur for them. And it's a place to be able to really unburden themselves and to be that presence in that space. And it may not be something that they did wrong, right? You and I started talking yesterday about moral injury, right? And there's a lot of research that has been rediscovered that was written some time ago about people who, you know, we send our service members out to go, you know, defend the defenseless, and sometimes that means having to do terrible things. And how do they wrestle? How does their neshama wrestle with that? And so to be able to be the one that they come to. So I get to be like this this, not just, you said a light bringer, which is, it's a very beautiful idea, but I get to be the one that supports them through their journey, right? Because it's theirs, it's not mine. But I get to walk with them side by side. It is powerful to see them when we joke that when I take vacation, it takes a couple days for my shoulders to finally like drop, which means I'm finally like relaxed. It's the same thing when they walk in. To feel like they can then take those next steps of healing, right? To be with them in that moment is incredibly kadosh. So the idea of being, we call, clergy like clay kodesh, holy vessels. And I love that term. That for me is what a chaplain should mean.
That's beautiful. It's interesting. You both answered the question and opened up a new dimension. I'll riff for a second, then hand it back to you, and then we'll close it. Even though I think we would all enjoy this going on. Isn't it amazing, Neshama? You're right here, and you're right here. Love you. I'm so lucky. The way that you talked about being a makom kadosh, right? Usually we describe places in that language, but you are that place wherever you go. That's what you're called to do, both by law, and I think also my sense of you is by calling. And the way that you described light is the safety of expressing self without worry. And in a certain sense, there can't be any light, there can't be any fire unless there's oxygen. And so it sounds like you're also sort of like providing a space for breathing, which is a place where light can exist. But you did say something that I'm curious about, that it's their journey and I'm with them. But among the ways that in this parsha the menorah is described is all being made of the same stuff. In fact, one of the most beautiful teachings that I've heard is about that the base of the menorah sprouts, and the language of the Torah to describe the menorah's branches is literally branches and petals. That even though it's a menorah, it's very much of one root. It's the same stuff. So if that's the metaphor, and we could talk about service members, or we can talk about just people that you would meet as rabbi, one of the challenges I know clergy faces, I'm not immune to this, is it their journey and I'm here for them, or is it our journey and that's how I feel when I'm speaking? I'm wondering how, as someone who has a very distinct role in the military, is it your journey too?
I'm going to give you the rabbinical answer. Yes.
Okay.
Because part of it is, look, chaplains do not bear arms. That's not a question. This is my weapon. Truly. But I'm never going to be asked to pick up a rifle and make a decision to end someone else's life, even in defense of someone else. I will never have that responsibility. I can never understand, from all the communities that I've been with, I will never know that burden. So no matter how much I am with them, together walking with them, as from the moment the instant, well, before, through the training, when the command is given, right? We go on deployment, the command is given, the action is taken, the impact of their soul occurs. That's them. I can never understand, because I will never be in their shoes. God forbid. I can't. So there are things I truly do not understand. At the same time, yes, I'm in it with them. As soon as they walk into my office, or they find me, if we're in the field, or if we're going to eat chow together, whatever is going on, in that moment, the paths have merged. But I would say in each case it may be different. Maybe I do know what they're going through, right? I had a Marine. I won't give too many stories, but I had a Marine come into my office. They were having a rough time. They were having, people say PTSD, right? My issue is I'd rather say PTSI, right? It's an injury, and so he came in, he had PTSI, and I was like, oh, that looks oddly familiar. So I started to describe me, and the Marine says, how do you know what I'm going through? I said, I've already been there. Like, I just described me, not you. Not everything's about you, right? I got him to giggle. And then we talked. In that case, yes, I do understand. So when we talk about empathy and sympathy, it's almost to that extent. You've got Rahmanis, which kind of incorporates both of those words in there. So do I walk with them? Yes, but ultimately, I do not carry that burden. They will continue, and you and I both know, because you've known how many times I've moved since I joined the military. I move a lot. They're going to continue that journey. Now, if they're going to stay in touch with me, and some have, then we continue in our paths still are connected. But there are a whole lot of people who I've counseled that are off doing whatever, that whether I see them still out on Facebook periodically, or I'm now on Instagram, so now I'm, following them that way. So it all depends on, their desire to remain connected. If the healing is complete and they're good, then they're going to carry on smartly, and I'm going to carry on with my mission. They're going to carry on with theirs.
She cool. So, I never know exactly how to say it, but I'm very inspired by what you do. That's the simplest way of saying it. And our brains are in certain ways wired, So I heard in your words already the sympathy, empathy, and then I always move towards solidarity as that third step, which is to walk with someone else, knowing that my understanding is limited. I understand me, or at least I try to. And I can never truly understand what it is to be someone else. And given the circumstances that you're describing that they are experiencing, which in the most significant way is different from the responsibility that you carry, and therefore the burden that they carry. That's really a humble way to be a helper. And maybe, friends, now I'm transitioning to our general conversation, not leaving behind the wisdom that Rabbi Creditor just shared. But I know I love saying that. I really do.
There's three of us. Which one are you talking about?
You, the one wearing the orange shirt today. No, I think that there's something really important about reading this parsha and knowing that the way that it applies is differentiated, right? Aaron and his children, in the Torah his sons, but let's say his children, are called to serve. And they have a distinct role. And what makes the Kohen the same is that we're all Bnei Israel. But the Kohen doesn't inherit land, but does have the responsibility, the dangerous responsibility of serving God most intimately, which, as we know from Aaron's children, Nadav and Avihu, cost them their lives because they don't do it according to the specific instructions. I'm not making a one-to-one connection here, except to say that the function that some of us carry is different, even if we're all one family.
Sure.
And it means a lot. I mean, look at the two of us, both rabbis, siblings. We do it differently. Ultimately, I think we're aiming toward the same world, but we have a very different function. People might not see us differently in our realms.
Right.
And I don't think we see each other so differently in what we do. Do you? I saw you hesitate just
do.
there. All right, so that's the last one. Then we'll close in a second.
Well, so it's similar, but it's different, right? Because my job is bifurcated, right? Most of my time I spend caring for my battalion, right? I've got 750 midshipmen at the Naval Academy right now. I have faculty and staff. I have that's my primary function.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other hat that I wear is Rabbi of the Naval Academy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right?
Moshe's here.
It's not, hi Moshe.
Moshe.
Right? It's not like that's my sole job, right? You have essentially, we wear one hat,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are the scholar in residence, right? And that's your, I've always wanted to say it like that, and I wonder what your reaction would be.
This.
Right? That's your role. You serve, you have one responsibility, right? I always have two, wherever I go, because there's not a lot of rabbis in the military.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I spend a lot of time, majority of my time, not focusing on Jewish issues or Jewish concerns. Right? That's a part of it, but that's not my sole responsibility. In some cases, being the rabbi of wherever I am is actually a secondary, it's not even my job. I'm covering down, like so I was at Camp Lejeune in Jacksonville, North Carolina for 2 years. I was the 2nd Radio Battalion and 2nd Intel Battalion chaplain, right? I doing double duty. On top of that, I was also the only rabbi in town, and the closest synagogue was an hour and 45 minutes away. So I covered 3 bases. I was by myself, right? In Okinawa, right? I joked with you. I was the chief rabbi of Okinawa, because I was the only rabbi in Okinawa, right? Army, Air Force, and it's my t-shirt, one of my t-shirts from it, right? So that was accidental. Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, civilians, contractors, blah, blah, blah. I'm the only one there.
Right.
But that was not my primary job. My primary job was my battalion. So
that's fascinating.
It's, and you and I have talked a lot of being like and I'm going to pull the light of the menorah to being like an Orla Goyim, right? I spend majority of my time doing that. When I counsel somebody and it goes
Orla
well,
Goyim meaning light to the nations.
Light unto the nations, right? And it's relationship building, and it's ignorance breaking. I've had to train my Jewish midshipmen to be able to sit with someone who says something basically stereotypical or anti-Semitic, and turn to them and say, out of curiosity, do you realize what you said was anti-Semitic? Like, do you understand why that's... And so, because a lot of time, again, so I'm teaching, and not just them, I'm teaching anyone who's willing to be an ally or have a conversation about what it means, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and the value that the rabbi brings to the table, right? When someone comes in and they're crying, all right, and they come and they sit down, they don't care that I'm a rabbi, they care that I'm a chaplain, they know that they're safe, and that they can say whatever they need to and start the process. They have that piece. But when they remember that it was the rabbi whose door was open for them, and the rabbi who was there, who sat with them and talked with them and worked with them on whatever was going on, right? That seed of being an Orla Goyim, like I have planted that in hopes of building an ally and building a bridge. So that's my focus all the time. But time-wise, I mean, I'm in meetings that you would never have to take, and you don't want to, but
No.
but they have nothing to do with my Jewish responsibilities. It's solely that chaplain side of the house that does not care what religion I am. It's you're a chaplain.
I hear you. I appreciate the distinction. I would say, again, from the outsider experience, that even though I understand how you bifurcated that you showing up as a rabbi in a space that is really about a chaplain, as you said, people should know that they have safe space, period, no matter their background, no matter what. But the fact that you're a rabbi is you representing our faith, you representing our people, and inhabiting the space that is open to all. Our ancestors could never have imagined such a thing. And so the power of that, right, of someone, beautiful and brave, enlists, and they have a rabbi to talk to, and they're raised in a church in Kentucky and have never met a rabbi, never met a Jew, right? And there you are as the safe space representing our country and inhabiting it as a Jew. That's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Take 1 second, then we're gonna close
I want to give you one more, because I think you'll appreciate, especially with what has been going on in the world. So I was doing all the religious accommodation requests.
Oh, 1 second.
Yep.
Blessing from the chaplain. Natalie's daughter just got engaged.
Hey, Mazal Tov.
Mazel tov from 2 Rabbis Creditor.
All
right, go ahead. You're close.
So here's I feel like y'all appreciate the humor of this story, because I tell this and most people don't understand how important this moment is. So we have a lot of international students who come to the Naval Academy for all 4 years, and so they have to abide by the rules, which also meaning, so we have kids coming from all over. One of them is from Jordan. We have a whole crew actually that are coming from there. Each year they send another student or 2. And so there was an incoming freshman, and she was worried because she wears a hijab, she wears the long sleeves, she wears the leggings, she won't wear shorts. And so she didn't know what to do. So she called one of the other Jordanian midshipmen, who was a junior at the time. He was going to be a senior. And so he goes, oh, without blinking an eye, when he told me the story, he goes, no, you have to talk to the rabbi. So he sends me an email. He said, "Hey, Rabbi, can you help us with this?" Yeah, of course. I do the religious accommodation for everybody. This is the person who you go through. He goes, "Great." So we set up a Google Meet, and we have this great conversation. She doesn't even flinch that I'm female. Doesn't flinch that I'm a rabbi. Nothing.
Right. Right.
Talk about like what that means. And I don't know how the Jordanians, the Israelis are going to work as IDF, but you know what they're going to know? They're going to know that the American rabbi, when they went to the academy, made sure that they had all the religious accommodations in order to maintain their level of tzniut, their level of modesty, to be able to succeed at the Naval Academy.
That's so cool.
And by the way, this happened again because now the rising sophomore got a call from a rising freshman who's coming in that said, "Hey, who do I talk to?" And of course, what does she say? "Oh yeah, you got to talk to the rabbi." I mean,
That's cool.
awesome.
All right, friends. Some love. Rabbi Yonina Creditor, Lieutenant Commander in the U.S. Navy. That is the coolest thing.
I know.
Holy cow, that's so cool.
But no one else understands why that's so cool.
All right.
You do, though, and I appreciate that.
I do. Friends, let's, with the laughter and with the light and with our hearts more full than they were before we tuned in, what a beautiful thing it is to be able to share this with you. I feel very privileged. Thanks for saying yes. I only asked her like half an hour ago. And let's notice where we are. Let's notice how we count. It's not just broadcast 1073. It's also day 255 since October 7. And our hearts, thank God, more full, we send them east. So if you'll do me that favor, let's take a breath for a second. Let's think about somebody who's still in harm's way. And I'll be tribal about it. Think about some of our family members who are still in the dark. And so we're going to call for their release again. Bring them home now. We're going to sing a tikva. Make our way into a good day. Tomorrow, I'm going to be remembering your Torah. Try to live up to it. Here we go. Kolon v'levav pnima nefesh Yehudi homiya ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia. O lo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liotam choshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liotam choshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, friends. Take care.